Hey there, everybody. It's Fred Thomas, and you are watching Rideable TV, the YouTube channel for frame and wheel, 80 bikes, and all things bike. And I am going to show you today how to pack a time trial bike in a regular box in case you are shipping it to an event or in case you've sold it and you're shipping it to somebody who wants to ride it. So I'm just going to do this, and I'll point out some of the tips and tricks. And you got any questions, you can always send me a message or call me on the phone. All right, let's go. So this is a 48 centimeter time trial bike. It's pretty small, so it's going to fit in a standard size box, which is 54 by 8 by 28. And the rule of thumb is always make sure that there's no metal on carbon. There's always something in between. Otherwise, you can get a scratch or a chip. So with time trial bikes, they got all these antlers, all this stuff up top. It makes it hard to get in the box if you just pull it off and try and stuff it in there. So here are some things to do to make that easier. The other rule is take the thing apart as much as you can. They're pretty easy to do. First thing, you take the front wheel off and put that aside for now. Take out the air. Excuse me. And took the front brake off. Take the front brake caliper off. Wrap it up in some paper. And next thing we'll do, we'll take the whole apparatus here off. Got a bag. That. Try and keep everything together. It's always one of the things I always mess up is I pack the whole thing and then I forget a skewer or something. Or a spacer. All right, so I'll take this thing off. Stem. Now I even take the whole stem off the base bars, because if you have it on there, it takes up space. It reduces the ability to get the base bars in there. So there's that, and now what do we need here? It looks like we need a 4. Loosen that up a bit. Start with this. And camera. The person who ends up buying this thing is, chances are they're going to maybe put on their own stem, their own aero bars. Who knows? But nobody likes to pay a premium for shipping. So the bigger the box, the more you're going to pay. The smaller the box, the less you're going to pay, or the buyer. So that's why we always try and get the bikes into the smallest box possible. And the way you do that is just by taking it apart a little bit. I mean, we could very easily get a big box and just chuck the bike right in there. But then the shipping would be it would be an oversized box, and it would be $275 at least just to go down the road. So, that's how we create value for customers who come to our store. The shipping is very competitive because we take the bike apart a little bit. And some assembly required is a truism. So I'll put this back in. See, so we've taken that thing off, but the result is that the base bars are going to have a lot more flexibility to squeeze in alongside the wheel and side. I put those right there so I don't space them. All right. See the next thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. Sometimes you can get away with it. Sometimes you probably with a small bike you can. But I'm just going to show you. So what I do with these time trial bikes is take off the extensions. Pretty easy to do. Yeah, some bikes are more complicated than others, but this one's pretty straightforward. Come on. Jeez. I'm going to break my wrist trying to take that thing off. Wow. So one was totally loose and the other one was cranked down to 50 Edward Newtons. So, okay, let's get that going. There you go. Little envelope, little baggies, micro baggies for all little metal parts. So the customer, sometimes they're shocked when they get their bike and they see the state of disassembly in which it is. And yeah, okay. But that's why it only costs $75 to ship it across the country. I took it apart. But make it easy for the customer to put it back together by putting all the parts and whatnot in bags that are separate, instead of chucking it into one sandwich bag with just a whole bunch of screws and spacers and whatnot. All right, so now we've got these things taken apart, and that creates a lot of maneuverability. You see, now these things can fit much more easily into the box. So now the next thing is you've got tons of this stuff. Anytime anybody sends us anything, we save all the packing material and we reuse it. And it just makes sense. This stuff has a half-life of 100 years. You might as well use it more than once. And yeah, it's expensive if you buy it new. It adds up. So another way we create value, we use our skills from kindergarten that we all still have, whether you want to admit it or not. So we wrap up the metal tips here. I don't have to wrap up the bar tape. Okay. Let's see. This one here. And so it doesn't bang around. Put a scratch in something. This stuff here, let's see, we take the big bags of bubble wrap that come in and we cut them into slices. It's much easier and more efficient to wrap stuff like that. You see, instead of getting one huge big bag of bubble wrap and just trying to stuff it in there, or just using a big thing, it's easier to just wrap it. And lots of times we use this saran wrap, industrial strength saran wrap. Extra level of protection, and it keeps it on there. Sometimes you tape the stuff up and the tape comes off and then the wrapping falls off. That is not very effective. Let's see here. What else we got here? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's a bag, or it's a bag, and you sort of instinctively say, "Oh, gee, well, I ought to keep it. I ought to hang on to it until there's a frame set, and then I'll put the frame set in there." It's real, it's not very efficient use of all that material. I'll show you in a second what we're going to do with it. I'm going to just wrap this one up. Let's see. All right, stuff over here. Yeah, I need to turn my light on. There you go. Much better. I don't know how I got by for so long without one of these things. All I need to do is put some more powerful lights in this place. Great way of sort of keeping conversations to a short amount of time with letting these things on your head. All right. And that's all wrapped up. Okay, gotcha. All right, one last thing. All right, these are metal base bars. So so here's a little trick. Here's this bag. Fold it over. You fold it over 3 times, like that. 3 times. Get out your big scissors. And you cut the whole thing like that. Try not to cut your fingers. Now about 2 inches width. And you turn this whole bag into, 100 feet of 2-inch wide bubble wrap that you can use to wrap a bike efficiently. All right, it might take some time, but this is what we do, and taking the time now to pack it properly is much better than the time you'll spend in a dispute with someone who received a bike that got savaged on the way over. The shipping environment through which all of our items travel is a very hostile one. It's not friendly. It's nothing but conveyor belts and guys who have to empty trucks as quickly as they possibly can. So they're moving things, and you have to assume that your box, your shipment is going to get a lot of airtime. I mean, not the kind of airtime where they're talking to someone on TV. Airtime passing through the air at speed. All right, so look at that. So we got all these threads. We've got renewed confidence in doing bar tape. I've never done that. Taken off a lot of bar tape, but put any on. Let's see here. What we got? You see what I'm doing here? I'm going to wrap this metal base bar completely up. Contac Fred. And that's going to keep all this metal away from carbon. And I'm going to wrap the levers. What we got to here? These are actually composite levers, so they can scratch the carbon, and they can get scratched themselves. The other thing is when the customer gets this bike, they may be a little bit dismayed with the amount of work that they've got in order to get the thing going, but they'll also see that we're very careful about how we prepared it and how we packed it, and they will appreciate that. Let's see. Another thing is the fork, front fork spacers. These things never seem to work. Is that one too wide? Too narrow? This one. So yeah, we put the spacer in there if we've got the right size. This one I don't think is right. Let's see. If we don't have a spacer, we'll just fashion one out of cardboard. For some reason. I don't know what bike these things came off with, but they don't work. So we don't need those. Let us. Yeah, right. So those things when you're missing a part or a piece, cardboard is the thing that is always around and can be fashioned into so many things to help solve little problems. So spacers is a great example. The chance of a side impact so great. I mean, if it's that great, it's going to do a lot of damage elsewhere to the bike. But these spreaders, I guess is what you call them, are put in here to prevent the fork from getting crushed. So we don't always have one we need. Make one out of cardboard. See, like that. Perfect. Put it in there. The more important part of that is not so much the spreader, but we use these tubes of styrofoam, I guess. Every new bike ships with these tubes of styrofoam, and much more efficient to cut them in half and shorten them, and then they can be used much more effectively. And your instinct is to sort of save them and sort of start wrapping them around the top tubes and the bottom tubes, the way it was when it came in. But I don't. That's not. It can work. I mean, it's not that. It's a little bit slower, time consuming to sort of wrap all these tubes around. People buy those black plastic insulation things. You can do that. I mean, that adds up pretty quickly. But you see what we're doing here is have a look. We shrunk and we took one of those things, chopped it, split it in two, put a spacer in there, and wrapped it all up. So now the front fork has a nice padding. It has nice padded cushioned feet that will prevent the forks from shooting through the bottom of the box when it's making its way up and down the conveyor belt. Right, so this is what we've done. We've created a lot of flexibility. All these things can get into the box in many different ways. Some more wrapping there to keep it on. If we just left it together, it would have been very difficult to get in. So now the next step is wrapping the tube, and you could do this. You could take these things out. Oh, but wait, it's not big enough. Oops. So maybe you could do it there. Maybe you could do one in one place. But this technique, I have determined, is much better because it's snug. I got more bubble wrap around. That's the other thing. And you don't have to do it for every single chain stay, seat stay, all that. I'll show you what I mean. You definitely have to do it for the down tube, and you can wrap it around like that and get it over the head tube. There. You have to do it for the down tube and top tube because the front wheel is going to sit right next to the frame. And you have to make sure that there's plenty of padding between the wheel and the frame. Okay, let's get rid of the air. When you take out the air, that's a whole inch. There you go. That's a whole inch. Just back in here. So let's see. We're going to take the seat post off in a minute. But let's see. What we've done in the past is, make this a little smaller, get a little more flexibility. And let's do the top tube. I'm going to move this forward a bit. And then I'll just do this part of the top tube. And then I'll move the clamp over onto the wrapping. Go. All right. And then we'll do the top tube and go. All right, so that's good. Now I'm going to try and get this area because that's where the wheel's going to be. Let's shrink it up and take the seat post off. Here. Yep, don't forget that. Seat post comes off. All right, I'll take a long strip. Might be sort of hard to see, but we're wrapping it up like this, and I'm trying to bring it through in between the seat post and the wheel. And that way we'll have plenty of padding. Maybe I can run it. No, I'm not going to do that. Run it through the wheel, but then the wheel, it helps to have the wheel with some maneuverability that way. There we go. Put it through like this. Okay. There we go. And put one, I think I'm going to put one stretch on the chainstay. Doesn't have to be a lot, but Nice. Okay, so I will put some of the styrofoam on the top here, because sometimes the bike boxes get flipped over. They get turned upside down, and then the whole bike will be riding on its top. So you want to have some padding on these pressure points, the top, the stem. And I put this wrap. Make sure it stays. You know, that masking tape, sometimes it loses its adhesiveness. So this thing is the same thing. Chop the top off. That's nice. One of the other detail to create extra space, you can flip the fork backward like that. The brake has been taken off, so it really allows the front fork to be completely reversed, and it saves. Yeah, this is the end of the box. You split it around, it saves like 4 inches. So that's another reason to take the front brake caliper off if you can. Okay. Allows us to hold it down a little. All right, pinch it into place. There you go. All right, so what's next? Look, it's still in the big ring. I wonder. There's a good reason to put it in the big ring is it keeps the teeth off the bottom of the box, and I think you can do it either way. I put the rear derailleur into the 18 or something that brings in the rear derailleur, so it's not sitting right up against the side of the box. All right, so I think that's the frame and the fork. I don't wrap the front fork. Everything else around it is wrapped, and most of the wheel, and there's going to be cardboard divider between the wheel and the fork. So of course I just went to the dump. I had tons of cardboard, and I just had to get some space, and so I just dumped all my spare cardboard. But there's always cardboard around, it seems, right? You have extra boxes, so you can show you what we do with the wheel. Take this. And put it down. All right, here's a great divider. You can use this for the front wheel. Take this off, put it in the Ziploc with the stem and the other fittings. These guys don't have a seat post expander. So we're all set with that. So here's a Ziploc bag. Put that stuff in so that I don't make the mistake of packing the whole bike up and then finding one vital remaining piece sitting on the bench. There's a little bit more when that happens. Let's see. So now I'm going to get some padding on this hub so that it doesn't press up against the frame and also press through the side of the box. So I mean, there are a couple techniques. I mean, sometimes you just put it right on there. Take the saran wrap. This. There you go. Through the plastic seal. Slip it in there like that. And then here's our divider. Got a little extra. So I'll just cut some of that off without slicing a tire or cutting my leg. Nice and slow. Yep. Right, so there's the divider. Thank you, U-line. And we'll do this. There you go. Yeah, that's not quite enough. Right. So wheels got some padding there. There's plenty of padding here. All right. So then once we've done all that, then it's you put the bike in. I mean, yeah, actually, a good tip is to, before you pack and wrap everything up, you do a test run, pop the bike in there, and see if you're in the ballpark. Sometimes if it's a big frame and you put it in the box and it's just not getting anywhere, then you know that you have to either take off the rear wheel and put the frame in and put the two wheels sort of on either side of it, or you have to take the whole fork out of the frame. But that's really with the big frames. Anything bigger than a 56, maybe 59, 60, 62, then you have to do a little bit more disassembly. This thing, the 48, and you can practically get right in there with it. So there we go. Fits right in. Plenty of space. We could. So the other thing is you can see how everything sits, and back out. You get a little more touch right here. And you get a sense of how it sits in there, and then what is possible is you can either zip tie or saran wrap the parts to the frame so they don't bang around. I'm going to just do a test run to see how much room we have and where we can put the wheels, the front wheel, I mean. And we may not even have to do any of that, but good idea. Keeps things from banging around too much. Yeah, I mean, this is, so the front wheel is just going to pop right in on the side, and it will be lots of space. You can't see that, but it fits. And so let's see, let's just try and see what we can do to keep things a little more snug. Maybe we can something like this. A lot of people will use a zip tie. I guess you can use zip ties. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes, not always. Zip ties, you know, they're not exactly inexpensive. And then sometimes if you zip tie something incorrectly, then it's hard to disconnect it. I'm gonna see if I can. In the front. And sometimes the handlebar can sit right along the top tube, but it's going to be easier, I think. Just keep it right there. Maybe a tail, but I think it'll be all right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so everything is pretty stable. Yeah, I'm gonna not do that. Forget about it. I think it'll be all right. There's a little more. That's fine. We'll just use some padding to keep things from moving around, and this way we'll have a little more flexibility. Okay, I'm gonna do this. There, yeah, I see. Busted. Right. That's looking pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of space in there. Sometimes what's worth doing is just taking some cardboard and adding an extra, insert it between the quick release, the skewer, so that it doesn't pop out through the side. Chances are it's going to when the box goes on the conveyor belt, almost always it's going on its side. It's never standing up straight. It's going on its side. So there's probably another box on top of it. So what I've done is I've just taken one piece of cardboard and I've put it in between, the end of the skewer and the side of the box, and that will prevent the skewer and the end of the skewer from punching through the cardboard and then getting dragged along the surface of the conveyor belt or along the street floor and getting all banged up. So it might create an indentation, but what you don't want is for the thing to actually punch through the side of the wall, side of the box, and then be exposed to the external elements because they'll get damaged and shredded. All right, so the bike is in there with lots of space. So now we get some extra tons of this stuff. Paper. All these things. You can have use that to fill in the space. We have these things. These are used sort of, I don't know what they are. You hit a button and it pops and fills up. So we can use them again. I mean, they. Okay, well, that's filling up some of the space. Then we take the seat post. Don't forget the seat post and all those fittings. I know, I think one time I forgot a front fork. This is a bummer. Now we just give this a little bit of a layer of bubble wrap. And then what I'm going to do is wrap it in paper. Or maybe I got enough. Plastic bag. A huge plastic bag. Your instinct is like, okay, I'll use it for my frame. Frame never comes, or the frame just doesn't require this kind of thing. If you put a frame into a plastic bag like this, it's not really going to protect it. I mean, it can still get banged up. It's probably useful if you want to protect it from moisture or something, but I think this is more efficient. Use this huge bag. Every time we get new items, they come in bags and stuff like this, and I'm always saving the bags and sort of thinking, for the longest time, I thought I'd use them to ship frames, but our technique just doesn't require plastic, and plus it's just sort of not really necessary. There are better uses of this horrible stuff. So this is one. So you wrap it up a couple layers, and it does actually begin to have some protective properties. Okay, and then I'll give it this stuff just to hold it in place. Okay, and then we will just set it right in here. Let's see, get some paper. Even, QVP, Shimano, SRAM, I think they really got to work on improving their efficiencies, because they'll ship, like a pair of cleats, and it'll come in a box, 4x4x4 with some paper. A pair of cleats could ship in a bubble wrap envelope, $4. And I'm sure they have excellent returns at UPS, but then I have a cardboard box, and most people are just going to bin those boxes. I can use them again, but reality is it's very rare that we use a 4x4x4 box to ship anything, because it'll ship an envelope much more easily. Padded envelope. So there's that. Add some packing, some padding. And that's it. Okay. There it is. This P2 is ready to go on its journey. Its next life. See? And then you take one of these things, 3-inch tape. Oh, no messing around with that little 1-inch stuff. Nice and snug. And do the same on the other. All right. It's all wrapped up. And then we call FedEx, of course, after somebody buys it. And then it ships. So we do this before the item is listed, or we do it right after. We pack all our bikes before they actually sell. So they're up there. They're already packed, and that just eliminates the whole local pickup thing. Can you step by? I live in Iowa, and you're in Maine, and I'm going to be there next summer. Can you just hang on to it, and I'll just stop by and pick it up? So it allows us to say, well, thank you for the generous and thoughtful local pickup idea, but the bike is already packed, and we've learned from bitter experience that we should let the shipping professionals take care of the shipping. So that's an insight onto how we pack and how you could pack. But of course, you don't want to deal with any of this. Then you just call me on the phone, 207-415-3746, and we will get your stuff from your space to our space, and we will do all this for you so you can get out and do other things that you are better at and would prefer doing. That's all. Talk to you again soon.